Hello, good vach, everyone. Welcome. Um, Motzei Shabbos, Sipurey Tzaddikim, Sichos Haran, Sipurey Tzaddikim. So, first we'll start with the Ma'aseh of Baal Shem Tov. And then we'll continue. I had some remarks that should be a bit more goal-oriented with these stories, not just, not read some stories, just hop from one story to the next. So, the Baal Shem Tov said that the main reason for Brias Ha'olam, for the creation of the world, is to break the natural bad midos that a person has. And he said that a person can possibly attain in this world everything that the Tanoim and the Amoraim have achieved. Were able to attain. The only thing that is holding them back is pride. It's an amazing sicha. When you come to think of how can a person get to a madrega of Tanoim and Amoraim, it's like supernatural. It's like you're talking about, you have between us and them, the Amoraim used to say that compared to the Tanoim, they were like, if the Tanoim were like akin to angels, were in the level of angels, they said that we are like people. How superior angels obviously are over people in what they attain and the madrega and everything. And they said, and if you'd want to say that the Tanoim, the first, Bakiva and the rest of them, were like people, that we are, compared to them, are comparable to donkeys. Now, you understand, there's a lot of different vorts about this particular, why they say the Tanoim are like angels, we are like people. If they are like people, we are like donkeys. What's the, why do they have to say that? So they say that, some say that if you have enough emunah to realize that the Tanoim that precede him, the Amoraim, if the Tanoim were like angels, then you are in madrega of a person. However, if you think that they were just people, it means that you are in madrega of a donkey. That's one of the words it's saying about this particular thing. But the main istaklos is that, the difference between a man and donkey means that it's not that just man is superior to a donkey. Man is more than a donkey. In fact, if you take 1,000,000 donkeys, they will not be equal to one man. You're talking about here to a quantum leap, which is unimaginable. And here we're talking about between the Amoraim and the Tanoim. And the difference between them is like, 200 years? 100, 200 years? That's it. Now we're talking about a generation which is 2,000 years removed. And generations are going down and down and down. You have the Geoinim, and then you have the Rishonim, and then you have the Achroinim, and then you have, you take you take a look at the Rishonim is the Rambam and Rashi, and you have the you have the Achronim, and the Yiddish say in the time of the Vilna Gaon, used to say that somebody asked his Talmud of Chaim Volozhin whether the Madrega of the Vilna Gaon was like that of one of the Rishonim, like Rambam and Rashi and whatever it is. So his Talmud said about his Rebbe, about the Gra, the Vilna Gaon, he says, Alavai, if he would have been in the Madrega of the smallest of the Achronim, that would be a Gewalt. In other words, you're talking about a quantum leap, which is impossible to think about bridging. So here comes the Baal Shem Tov, the Sebi Shem Baal Shem Tov, that if it wasn't for pride, a person would reach the level of Tanoim and Amoraim. Okay? It's basically saying that spiritually, if it wasn't that you are pride, for your pride, you could reach the sun. You could be that tall, you can reach the sun. I mean, how do you bridge between our days and the Madrega of the Tanoim and Amoraim? It seems like unbridgeable gap, obviously. The answer is that it comes, the Baal Shem Tov said it, which means in the koyach of the tzaddik emes, of Baal Shem HaKodesh, even somebody today, not on his own koyach, but the koyach of the tzaddik, he can reach in a certain level the madrega of Tanoim and Amoraim, if it wasn't for the pride. Now, how much do you have to work in order to get that, and how much you have to lean on it? It's just, it sort of gives you an amazing insight into the level and the koyach of the Sichos of the tzaddik to help each and every person who leans on him. I want to tell you a little bit of a ma'aseh Rabbeinu said. Now, here we're talking about from the Sefer Chayei Moharan. I want to see if I have it handy here somewhere. Anyway, I'll say it by heart. Rabbeinu said a Sicha, that he said that he dreamt that he was with a group of people. Now, the dreams of Tzaddikim are something very, very different than our dreams, because Tzaddikim are people whose koyach hadinyan is totally purified. And so what they dream is the mamash dream asidos. What they dream are true visions. So he said that he was in a certain place, and he saw people gathering around. And one of the people he saw there was a nifter, was a deceased person. And he was wondering very much. It's like, what is the deceased person doing with people? So he asked him, he said, are you close to any tzaddik? Are you close? So he said, not really. He said, are you close to this one? I don't know. So he said, no, I'm very far from him. For maybe this one? No, I'm very far from him. What about that one? No, I'm very far. So he says, are you close to me? So that nifter, that deceased, that neshama, looked at him in wonderment. He says, you? With you, from you, I'm exceedingly far. And he said that then that neshama has risen up in the air and way all the way up to the sun. And he went together with the sun as the sun was setting, and he could hear his voice. The sun was setting, and he went together with the sun under the earth, like the sun goes, as it were, that the earth is swinging. So he went under the earth. No, he was the other side of the earth, and he heard that deceased, that nifter, telling him you see how distant I am from you. And Rabbeinu said, I had a tremendous Rahmanas on him. Because he said that a person needs to be close to the tzaddik in a tremendous way, in not just this world. He says, but in the next world. He says, everybody says that Olam Haba is Amad Kshoit. It's the world of Emes, Olam HaEmes. But Rabbeinu says that it's only when an neshama actually gets to its intended place in Gan Eden, and then it has reached Olam HaEmes. Until then, a deceased, after he left this world, is in great danger. It says because there are neshamas of Rashaim that fool him, this way and that way. The Zohar Kodesh says that, by the way, just in parenthesis, parenthetically, as they say, the Zohar Kodesh says that anybody that pulled the Kedusha on himself, he becomes a Shaliach for Kedusha. And anybody that Chas v'Chalila is Moshech on himself, the spirit of Tumah, then he becomes a Shliach for Tumah. So apparently this is probably what Rabbeinu means, that, the Neshamas of Rashaim, Neshamas of the wicked, that fool around with a person after he passes away. And a person needs great rachamim. If he's connected to the tzaddik, then the tzaddik, he's able to go to the tzaddik, and the tzaddik, B'ez Hashem, will get him to where he needs to go. And he said that a person needs to be connected to the tzaddik while he's still in this world, so to be able to be connected with him in the world to come. And then Rabbeinu said that this following Maisa, unbelievable Maisa. Now, obviously, this is not what they call the Chassidish Maisa. This is Rabbeinu Nachman of Breslev said this particular Maisa, which means this is it. It doesn't become any truer than that. That the Maggid of Mezritch had a great Talmud. Actually, his number one Talmud was Rabbi Nachman Mendel of Vitebsk. Now, Rabbi Nachman Mendel of Vitebsk was the Rebbe of the Baal Tanya, the first Rebbe of Chabad. And when the Rabbi Nachman Mendel of Vitebsk left, Lithuania and White Russia to Eretz Yisrael, then the Baal Tanya started, having his own Hasidus. So when the Rabbi Nachman Mendel of Vitebsk was in Eretz Yisrael, he lived in Tiberias, they said there was great poverty in Eretz Yisrael. So they sent an emissary, a messenger, to go to Chutz La'aretz and to collect funds for the Kehillah in Eretz Yisrael. And obviously, when they sent an emissary to Eretz Yisrael in those days, they sent people who were exceedingly pious. Besides that, there were people that, they used to be, great businessmen, meaning that money didn't scare them. When they would go collecting money and you would give them 10 shekels, they were not impressed by that. You give them 1,000 shekels, they weren't impressed by that either. And they understood what Kehillah means, because they were, people of means in themselves. And obviously, to be shliach of Rabbi Nachman Mendel of Vitebsk, you can imagine what kind of level of a person, of Kedusha that person was. Rabbeinu says as follows, that when he was at sea, that person passed away. And when that person passed away, it seemed to him, the person, the deceased, that he's riding, on his wagon, his limousine, whatever you want to call it, and his chauffeur and his secretary, they are with him. Now, these were actually avenging angels, but were fooling him. And they were going from a place to the next, and he had no idea that he was dead, and he had no idea. So suddenly, and he's going. He had this great cheshek to go to his Rebbe, Reb Nachman of Vitebsk. So his secretary and they told him, "Come on, we're in the middle of going to close a great deal, a big deal. Well, now go to your Rebbe." It was okay, fine. They kept on going, and then he felt another, an unbelievable urge to go to his Rebbe. So he said, "Listen, I want to go to my Rebbe." So his driver and his chauffeur told him, "No, come on." He says, "I'm telling you, I want to go to him." Well, they said, "No, we're not taking you there." He says, "What do you mean you're taking me? You're working for me. I'm paying your salary. How come you're Chinik? We're not taking you there. What is this?" B'kitzur, he argued with them until they had no choice. And they told him that he's already passed away, that he's a deceased. So he said, in that case, for sure I want to go to my Rebbe. He says, "No, you don't deserve it." And he argued with them until they had to go to Beis Din Shel Mala. And Beis Din Shel Mala Paskin, if he's right, they have to take him to his Rebbe. And Rabbeinu said they took him to his Rebbe, and when he stepped into his Rebbe's room, the Rebbe was with, Renach Mendel was with some people. They stepped in, nobody saw him, of course, and he stepped in with one of the avenging angels. And Rabbi Nachman of Vizek saw him with the avenger, he fainted. And when they revived him, he told his people, because nobody saw him, obviously, he told his people that person, that emissary that they sent, was Nifter. And it took him like 7 or 8 days to work on him until he corrected him and fixed him. So they said that the person needs a big schus after he passes away from this world, not to be fooled by avenging angels and shamas rishon. How much a person needs to be connected to tzaddikim. And amongst Anshe Shlomeinu, our people, what they used to do is they used to make a shvua when it kitzas chayfetz. It's a very strong shvua. Usually, they said they used to do it on Simchas Torah when they held a Sefer Torah. So they showed in the kifas chayfetz, they're holding a certain chayfetz, they hold a Sefer Torah, and they made the shvua that when they leave this world, they go straight to Rabbeinu. Obviously, if a person has never transgressed a shvua, it's much more helpful than if a person did. So, nevertheless, it comes to show you the koyach of tzaddikim, how strong they are in this world and in the next. And another story that he said that there is a shul in Yerushalayim, still today. It was in his days and still today, that all the neshamas of all the people who pass away go there. And each one, according to what he was able to attain in this world, he has, one has a shirt, but he's missing pants. One has pants, is missing a shirt. He has a shirt, but he's missing a sleeve. All spiritually speaking about this particular mitzvah or that particular mitzvah. And he said that can come there a person who is totally naked. In other words, there's no schusim whatsoever. And the tzaddik emes can come and throw to him a garment to put on, which means when you have a garment, means that you have a stature in Olam Haba, you can exist on Olam Haba. The person who's naked is totally on an eternal exile. He doesn't have any kalim to receive the chayas of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. There's no kalim. You can't just take it, just get it. You even have to contain it. It's like try to get water. How much water can you hold with your hands? I'm stuck out. How much more so a person totally naked? So Mishamayim, they get upset with him. How do he doesn't deserve it. How can you do such a thing? How can you give this nifter who is totally naked, who's totally bereft of any schusim, how can you give him a beggar? The Tzaddikim says that I have no problem. He says, because I need him as a shliach. I need to send him to do my bidding, to do something for me. So for that, I can give him a beggar. It comes to show you what does it mean, the koyach of the tzaddik. In Baal Shem Tov, in this story, they said that the person in this world can get the madrega of Tanaim and Amoraim. Again, first of all, I don't know how precise this particular Maisa is. But Rabbeinu also said that if you are properly connected to me, I can make from you tzaddikim kamoni mamish, just like me. And the core of the tzaddik, the madregas that a person can attain, is totally immeasurable. It's immeasurable what a person can get. So let's jump a little bit towards the biography of Rabbeinu Arizal. Right now we're visiting, the tremendous chabura that stayed around in Tzfas around the time of Rabbeinu Arizal. And I think that I don't know if I told you, but anyhow, we're talking about the Shlomo Kabetz, the Baal Chadoidi, everybody knows. He sat there for many, many years. He was in such many years. I mean, people admired him, not just the Jews, but the Goyim also. And obviously, with the Arabs, what's going on here, with what's going on today. The Arabs has not changed, by the way. And they were jealous of him, decided, they're gonna get him. But how they're gonna do it? How Chas v'Chalila they're gonna kill him, Shem Yirachem, without anybody knows. We're gonna be severely punished by the governor because Shlomo Kavetz, the Chadoidi, was admired by the Muslim governor as well. So the other one says, something, Shlomo Kavetz used to go, like all the Tzaddikim, used to go out of town to make his weddings. He says, we'll go and we'll happen to him. And they started following him. And finally they caught up with him. So and they said they actually jumped on him and they killed him. They actually killed him. Then they took his body and they buried the body in the yard of this Arab's house under a dry and naked fig tree. And, the earth, nobody should know that anybody was buried there. The people at Tzfas freaked out. Shlomo Kabetz, went out and never came back. Maybe, something happened to him. While they were still going all over, obviously they couldn't find him anywhere. They found an amazing piece of news that in the house of this Muslim, a fig tree has started giving, a dried fig tree has started giving fruits outside of season, out of season. And it's amazing, amazing fruits. All the trees all the fig trees in town were all dry. It wasn't the season. But this tree, the branches are already like breaking from the weight of the fruits of the figs. So they didn't have thought maybe he was like a warlock, maybe it was like a chashish. The governor of the town heard about it. And he said, so what do you think? I'm an ignoramus. You want me to believe that a fig tree will give its fruit now? I don't know when they get fruit. Nobody's seen anything like this. Because still, they told him, it's true. So he went there, and he saw it, and he looked at the fruits. He says, "Wow, I wish I knew the secret of this tree. I can help also in my own garden. I can have such trees. So he says, I see here. There is a secret here. in this particular tree. And I want you to tell me what it is. Because I want the same kind of trees in my garden. So he didn't know what to say. He says, are you going to tell me or not? What do you think? You're going to keep your invention to yourself and become rich? I'm going to have you, whipped until you tell me. So he started whipping him, flag him. And then he said how he killed the Rav Shlomo Alkabetz, and this is how the city of Tzfas have found out what happened to him. Shem Yikom Damai. B'ezrat Hashem, next week we will continue with the story of Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, the big Makobel Rabbeinu Arizal. Now, B'ezrat Hashem, we will get to Sichos Haran for this week, B'ezrat Hashem. Just take a look, hold on. Here we go. We are holding by Sicha 180. As we're talking about the Madregas of the Tzaddikim, says one time, Rabbeinu Kodesh said that today he had seen a new angel and he knows his name. And under that particular angel, there are those that this angel is their boss. And they have shofars, horns in their hands, and they are making tkiya, and then trua, and then again tkiya, and they're all digging, and they're looking for avedas, for lost and found. They're looking for things that were lost. He says, because there are a lot of things, we'll talk about this in a minute, there are a lot of things that are lost. B'chinas tavas rishoyim tevid, the craving of rishoyim will be lost. Is a tavas rishoyim tevid is the Rosh Tevis is tkiya, trua, tkiya, yachper v'avedu. And sometimes the tzaddik himself is looking after avedus himself, that he himself lost. This is b'chinas yesh tzaddik oved b'tzitka. Sometimes a tzaddik is losing his tzaddik. Then the tzaddik does tshuva on that avera that causes people to lose things. And Bavada Rabbeinu says the tzaddik didn't mamish that avera. It's just a certain pgam, a certain little, very, very subtle from that chet. When he does total tshuva, there's a big simcha in the Shemayim, tremendous simcha. And at the same time, Rabbeinu says it's very, very difficult to be makabel, to be somebody who lives off things that people give him, like, that tzaddikim is to receive, and so forth and so on. And kfir rest, apparently, this is very damaging about this inyan of Avedis, we will talk about in a minute. And that causes Avedis. And he says these words are totally sealed, totally opaque, and wondrous and amazing. And so look at it in the Kutim Haran, Tanina, about Kavanas Elul, that Mesugul to Gamabris, and about fruits that weren't totally, ripen on the tree, because everything is one thing, and everything, this is all we heard from his holy mouth, and none of us really know how far these things reach and what this is all about. But let's talk a minute about Avedis. Rabbeinu says that when we come to the tzaddik on Rosh Hashanah, to Umm Rosh Hashanah, he says the tzaddik is all the Avedis that we lose throughout the year, the tzaddik is looking for them, and it's by him. And when we come to the tzaddik on Rosh Hashanah, so the tzaddik gives us back everything that we lost. However, says Rabbeinu, that first of all, the tzaddik has to check the person. And he says, Pazal said in his halacha, that says when a person has lost something, before you can give it to him, you have to check him out, that he's not, he's not a cheater. You have to ask him, do you have simonim? You have signs on it, how big it is, what was it, and whatever it is, you lost the watch, what kind of watch it was, whatever. What kind of watch, and when did you lose it, and so forth and so on. So the tzaddik has to ask the question, ask this person to ascertain this person is not a cheater. And supposedly, before he gives him the aveda, supposedly when you hear it, I mean, like, what does it mean that the tzaddik has to ascertain this person is not a liar, is not a cheater? Tzaddik knows everything this person is. Before he landed in him. What is happening here before a person gets an aveda, gets his avedis, the things that he lost? Obviously, whenever it is that when a person does an aveda, or when a person has a chance to do a mitzvah and he doesn't do it, he lost an opportunity. The time in this world is so precious that every single moment, Kadosh Baruch Hu gives you, he tests you, and he gives you opportunities. What are you going to do with it? And when a person in Chad v'Chalila does an avera, or if a person misses the opportunity to do a mitzvah, any kind of mitzvah, person asks you a favor. You're driving with your car, and somebody asks you if you can please give me a ride. You really don't feel like, I don't want to be somebody in my car, whatever it is. It's a big loss because there's really, there's no tzedakah in which the disparity between how little it costs you, the giver, and the huge benefit that the receiver, the guy giving the lift to, receives, than when you give somebody a lift. Because you're driving anyhow. I mean, you're on the road. There's no, but that guy is standing in the sun or in the rain or whatever it is, and you are taking him. The benefit is immense, and it doesn't cost you anything. It's a horror. I don't want to be somebody in the car. I'm not in the mood. Besides, I don't know. Maybe this person doesn't smell good. I don't know. I don't need somebody sticking up my car or whatnot. But aveda, bingo, boof. You don't even realize that. All these avedas, they go to the tzaddik. No, so I go to the tzaddik and bada bim, bada boom, I get everything back. Not so easy. The thing that determines what kind of lost opportunities you get depends on what madrega of emes have you achieved during that year. What have you done with yourself? We can all talk the talk. How much from talking the talk are we actually leaning towards walking the walk? Nobody does it 100%. Let's be realistic. I don't think anybody does it 10% or anybody does it 2%. We all mean good. We all, Baruch Hashem, have good intentions. But we're, quote unquote, we're people, That's the way the world is, I missed that opportunities. I did this avera chas v'chalila, whatever it is, each one according to his madrega, what for him, for one person is an avera, for another person is a big mitzvah. It all depends, it's like for somebody like us, I don't know, maybe to go and eat in a place, I don't know, in Tel Aviv or in Ramla, whatever it is, it just has one word on top, kosher, it will be an avera. How do you know it's kosher? Who gives extra to it? But there are guys who are very far from you. For him to look dafka for that sign to eat there is a big mitzvah for him. How kosher it is, I don't know. The Satmar Rebbe, the Rebbe Yoelish, it used to be in America, they have something called kosher deli. Now, these kosher delis, open on Shabbos, used to be open on Shabbos, today, whatever it is. So they had these neon lights, that go, kosher deli kosher, and it's blinking, it's like it's kosher deli on and then off. So the Satmar Rebbe used to say these places are kosher like the sun, sometimes on, sometimes off, sometimes on, sometimes off. So for somebody like you to eat there, it's an avera. But for another Yid who doesn't know anything on Yiddishkeit, says, that's a kosher place, it's a mitzvah for him. And so forth and so on. And as much emes as you are able to attain during this year, since the year before until this Rosh Hashanah, this is how many avedas, how many things that you have lost, you're getting back from the tzaddik. It is impossible to imagine. It's like imagine that you have a wallet and you have a bank check in this wallet for $100,000 and you lose the wallet. That $100,000 was to pay, sorry, down payment for your house or for your daughter's house. I don't know. Gone. Where's my wallet? And as you're going around like a chicken around the head, what happened to my wallet? Somebody comes and gives you a wallet and says, here, that's your wallet. And you look and you open it. Yeah, and mine isn't there. The check isn't there. Oh Hashem, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. The things that we lost, it's not a wallet with $100,000 bank check. It's infinitely more. Every single piece of lost opportunity. So nothing about it there. But I want to tell you to look at it the other way. All the things that each of us does. You eat with a bracha. You drink with a bracha. You daven in a minyan. You give tzedakah to someone. You give a lift to someone. Just little things. You smile at someone. See somebody is down, and you give him a beaming smile. You must give him a life. How much each one of this is worth? Endless, endless. Baruch Hashem. The koyach of the tzaddikim. I remember Baal Shem Tov, Shlomo Al-Kabetz, Zecher because the Baruch Hashem Yikom Damoi, and all the other tzaddikim, Rabbi Melech, big schus to mention him on Shabbos. Of course, Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Rabbi Nachum ben Fege, Schusam Tagen Alem, Kol Yisrael Amen, Bezat Hashem will be zoicha to be connected to them in this world, in the next world, in a way that v'nafshay kshura b'nafshay, that our nefesh will be mamash connected to him like we're one thing. And Rabbeinu says that the love that you have to the tzaddik is bigger than the love that a person has for his own titus, for his own pleasures. He loves the tzaddik more. And a person, Rabbeinu says, a person needs, and Rabbeinu says that a person needs to beg his entire lifetime to be zerchet to find this tzaddik. He says, even if you know who he is, it's very possible that you are by him, but his light is totally dark by you. You don't feel anything. You don't have any spilos, you're just not connected. Yeah, whatever. But Lamaisa, it's not. How much a person needs to do, especially doesn't even know who the tzaddik is. How much is supposed to beg? He says, on your hands and knees, all your life, maybe you'll be able to find him one day before you finish the job in this world. Everything is kedai. Hashem zatem shivim zakas, to connect ourselves to tzaddikim, befrat to tzaddik emes, bracha and simcha, the source of the yikar to us and klal Yisrael, Hashem, all the enemies Am Yisrael that Hashem will be totally defeated. V'zoiche b'zat Hashem to geula shleimo. B'zat Hashem bias Mashiach b'mehera b'yameinu amen. Shkoyach so much, everyone.